Hello, I'm Llewellyn King, the host of ME CFS Alert. Today I'm in Rentham, Massachusetts, and my guest is Robie. Robie, welcome to the broadcast. I'm sad to have to tell people that you've had ME for 15 years and that your extraordinarily interesting and productive life has been arrested, taken away, if you will, by the disease, that you've had to move from living on a farm in Texas and having a rather interesting life as a life coach and health coach to being somebody dependent on her parents to look after a tragic situation. Has so much to do with this disease. It's tragic. Tell us a little bit about how you get through a day.
Physically, I get through the day by, I wake up about noon, and within the first couple hours my folks make a shake for me, a smoothie, and they bring it down to me because it takes a few hours for me to be able to get out of bed and move around. And for the first few hours that I'm awake, I can't eat solid food. So at that point, when I wake up, they bring me the shake and they put my dogs out. I have 2 dogs. And they put them in the pen, and...
Have the dogs spend the night with you?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Animals are very important to a lot of patients.
Mm-hmm.
A great comfort, and of course they understand, don't they?
Yes.
They have empathy for human.
They do.
For human suffering and human beings and distress. And I've seen a photograph of you. I've not seen you in bed, but I've seen a photograph of you in bed with 2 large dogs.
Yes.
And a cat.
Yes.
And they all get along.
They do. They get along really well. I have a 4th cat that is pretty blasé, but I have my hands full with the 3 that decide to spend their time with me.
What are they? What are the breeds of it? The dogs are very interesting dogs.
They are. They're Louisiana Catahoula leopard dogs.
Catahoula leopard dogs.
Yes.
Not everybody knows what a leopard dog is, let alone a Catahoula leopard dog. And this is a substantial dog, a hunting dog, I'd assume.
Yep.
And the cat is a sort of generic cat, or is it?
Yeah, he's a big fat striped cat.
And he's an indoor cat?
He was, but he's 16 pounds, and I say he's fat, but he's just a big cat. My room has no windows, and it's about 330 square feet, which is a generous space in my parents' house. However, it gets a little tight with 4 animals and myself, so I do let the cats out now.
Talk to why animals are important for patients. I've found many, many people comforted and indeed sustained by their animals. More often cats, because if you're on your own, a cat is manageable. A dog has to be walked and has different needs, and they're not compatible with being bedridden, for example.
Right. Right. Well, first off, I would say if someone is sick and in the market for a dog, get something small, do research. I was not this sick. I've been really ill for 4 years. I was able to manage the first 11 years being sick on my own. And now sometimes I wonder, I keep them because they offer me so much in terms of emotional support. I get physical support from them because everybody needs touch, and I don't really have anyone to hold hands with or hug or even sit shoulder to shoulder. So having them there for the physical support is great, and they are intuitive.
I've been trying to understand, as somebody who's not afflicted and who does not have this problem, the loneliness that goes with the disease.
Yes.
The deprivation of human company, the long, empty days. How do you fill them besides loving the animals and being loved by the animals?
I unfortunately tend to watch a lot of TV, which is not good for my cognitive, for the healing of my cognitive brain, as we people with ME tend to crash and are able to slowly get back to their low and not very good baseline level of functioning. But it's really good to rest your brain when you are really sick. And I still tend to watch TV because it distracts me from the fact that it's summertime, I'm not out in the world, I'm alone, I can hear my parents coming and going. And I can't do the crafts that I'm yearning to do in my solitude, like knitting or beadwork or drawing. All that stuff takes too much cognitive strength to do.
And do you see ups and downs in your cognitive ability? I mean, you and I have talked now twice, and clearly you look very intelligent and very smart and very well informed. It's hard to believe that you have difficulty with that you have brain fog, cognitive disability. But you do. Does it come and go?
Unfortunately, it's been on a slow decline over the past maybe 6-7 years. And now I have hit a point where it's pretty normal to be, like this conversation, I have to focus really, really hard on what you're asking. And I have to really try to remember what I'm talking about as I'm talking to you.
I want to hear about what you're doing with support for other sufferers, which seems to me very useful. You started a support group, and of course that goes in fits and starts somewhat because of the health of the people involved.
Okay.
But how is it working? How would you like to see it work, and how can people get in touch about it?
Right. So it was an idea that was started. I kind of had the idea because I was forced to drop out of counseling psychology master's program because I lost the ability to read. That was the worst part of my cognitive function ever in the timeline of how bad it is. So I put the idea out to someone last November and started collecting email addresses, and I have a really great team of 2 people and an additional, I call him the veteran consultant because he's had ME for a long time. So it's taken 6 or 7 months for us to just figure out how to run the group, put rules in place, we really wanted to build a concrete level so that we could expand it, because I have a feeling it's going to blow up. And blow up in a good way. Right now we have about 25 people on our email list. We've had 2 sessions online, and in each session we had about 9 and 10 people, including the 3 people who created the group.
And how often do you communicate with each other? Is it a sort of hand-holding over the internet, or is it an exchange of, I find this is helping me, or somebody once wrote to me and said that putting a lozenge under her tongue helped. And she was very serious about it. I mean, nothing is trivial if it helps.
Right.
And nothing at all is trivial if it helps. Do you exchange these things, these little things?
We do. We have a topic set for each session. So the first was actually tools, tips and tricks of how to make your life more comfortable. So that was really great. People shared things like, for instance, I use a tote bin next to me on my bed. It serves as a table and space for extra blankets and stuff. So then from there, we'll put together, and this is a little hard, we need more help with this, but we want to put together a resource list where people can go and reference what was talked about in the session. So somebody could go to an open document and see, oh, Robie talked about this tool, and that I'll provide on that paper a link on Amazon to the tool.
This is a very clean, modern house. It's not very old, your parents' home. And so some of the things that we suspect like mold, certainly aren't apparent. Yeah, this is not that sort of environment. But do you personally have a sense of environmental triggers that cause a deterioration in your state of being?
I do have multiple chemical sensitivity. So my symptoms get a little worse when I'm exposed to any kind of chemical, any fragrance. I'm okay with essential oils, but any manufactured fragrance really gets to me, and it just makes me feel really sick. That's
So
fairly common.
volatiles are,
Yes.
are hairsprays,
Yes.
that kind of thing. And but nothing from the dogs.
No,
That would be a terrible
it
tragedy.
would be awful, and I know some people have said, you know, maybe you're so sick because you're surrounded by all this dirt and fur, and I know that it's not that because I've never been allergic to them, and organic material does not set me off.
And you've not been exposed to mold, so that's not. People are very concerned about mold.
Yeah, I thought years ago, I only knew that I had ME maybe 5 years ago. So a decade before that, I did all my own research trying to figure out why I was just exhausted all the time. And mold was a concern for me. But I lived in so many places. I literally move about every 2 years, or I did up until here. So I don't think, maybe mold is one of the toxins that might trigger the body to release the ME. I believe we have kind of a latent ME that might never make us sick, or if it gets triggered by a chemical, maybe a mold.
You mean like a virus that...
A virus.
There are all kinds of viruses that live in everybody's body.
Yes.
Nothing
Yes.
necessarily alerts them, but if they become activated by some trigger, then
Right.
they've got a huge problem. So
Right.
you feel it's that kind of disease.
I do believe that. I think emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? A trigger, like, I can't think of the word, but emotional, chemical, and physical. So I know some people who've been hit in the head and all of a sudden they get ME. So something maybe gets triggered in the brain.
Yeah, there's no clearly understood root.
No.
One of the interesting things is, of course, that people who have ME tend to remember when they first got sick. Are you one of those people? Is it burned indelibly in your memory?
Getting severely sick is definitely burned in me, when I got really ill 4 years ago. And the 15 years ago, I know I was a pretty heavy drinker. So I didn't feel good. I was in my mid-20s, and I thought, you know, I'm gonna quit drinking and I'm gonna feel great. And so I did stop drinking, and then I never felt well. And right away after I stopped drinking, I waited 3 months, and I'm like, I still feel awful every day. So I went to a doctor, and he did blood work and found that he said I was in perfect health and sent me on my way, which is a problem. A lot of doctors don't try to dig further, and they send you, if I think I'm going to go to a doctor and he doesn't tell me to try something different, I don't know to do something different.
This is a large problem.
Yes.
A huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we really hope that the medical profession takes note of this disease, because I have had correspondence from people, most of whom seems to be the average before you find a doctor who even knows what it is, to be nearly 12 doctors. Well, that's a lot of trudging around when you're sick, telling your story and being rejected.
Yes.
Rejection is a powerful depressant in life.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be rejected, especially by successive doctors who say, you're fine, or there's nothing wrong with you, I've looked at your blood and I've listened to your heart, and it's great. Very difficult situation, and until we get a biological marker, that will be the situation. Before you got sick, what were your aspirations?
I always loved helping people. So before I got severely sick, I was waiting tables and up until I was 30. I didn't,
And you're 42 now?
yes.
Like a lot of patients, you look much younger.
Oh, oh,
You
good.
spend all day sleeping.
That's what I tell people.
Spend younger.
I get plenty of rest. Yeah, so at 30, I didn't want to wait tables anymore, and I was tired. So I thought, maybe I need to do something that gives me meaning. So I became a personal trainer and a nutrition consultant, and later became a yoga instructor. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I began school for a graduate program in counseling psychology. So I really just wanted to build a practice that incorporated mind, body, and spirit, because I think to heal people, especially emotionally, you need all three components.
Absolutely. Well, the tragedy is that so much help you could have given to so many needy people,
Yes.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not going to happen until we find it here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's my
on
pleasure.
It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you.